ingredients that I'm using now to start is I'll add a little water, warm water, into my mixer. That's a part of the 3 7/8, and I'll add 2 tablespoons of the yeast to this.
And was that about 2 tablespoons of the water, maybe? Or
oh yeah, a little bit more.
A little bit more than that. Okay.
Yeah, just so that you can moisten the yeast. And but we've got to give it a little something to grow on. If we would use a little some of this 1/3 cup sugar, and then we'll have it rising here, bubbling, producing that gas we talked about. So it's going.
So you try to get it all moistened there.
Yes.
You got about, am I right in saying about 1.5 cups of the warm water?
Yes.
And about 1 or 2 tablespoons of the sugar, and then the 2 tablespoons yeast.
And I'm going to add about 1/3 cup of potato flakes to this water, and I'll put 1/2 cup of powdered milk into it, because we want to add a little nutrition to it. We better have some powdered milk to this. Wow, that went a little fast. And we'll put the rest of the sugar in that, and we will add the salt as well, about how much? 3 teaspoons?
About 3 teaspoons? You said you've cut that back a little bit sometimes.
About 3.5. And of course we're getting ready to put in that shortening as well. And I like to use, there's a difference in on particular which kind of shortening I use. I usually use the Imperial, and find that something about it is not as oily but still strong. It helps to make it strong. And a spoon here, I'm going to see that this is well stirred, so I don't get that sugar and salt dissolved, and I'll add it to my original. But I think the yeast is bubbly already, and I will put that in and put in the shortening. And we'll start adding flour to this.
So you put in about half of the flour first?
About, And I don't want to have it splashing over the top, so but I do want it to mix well. What is happening now is that the gluten is being developed, and I will put a little speed to it. And if you see on the inside, on the edges, the stringiness of the gluten is already beginning to show up stronger.
And that's what you want, right? You want to start sticking together.
Mm-hmm. So a lot of times we let this rest in between, because what's happening even now is that the yeast plant is growing. I'll add more flour.
You have about 8 or 9 cups in there, right?
I have 8 cups in this bowl, but I'll add another. It'll be a little iffy how much of the 9 cups I'm going to need to get this the texture that I want. So
before you had this mixer,
I did it all by hand. Elbow grease.
There you go.
Now the plan is to put this dough into that bowl, and I will put a little oil in there.
How much you put in there?
Oh, about 2 tablespoons. Enough to coat it.
So you added a little flour on top after it was in the mixer, but you didn't really mix it up much more. That's because you're going to kind of knead it by hand, right?
Right.
Okay.
And I want to get it the right consistency here.
And if you don't have the oil on your hands, it gets pretty sticky there, doesn't it?
Yes. Continue.
So let's take a look at, this is some dough. Can we open this up here?
Yes.
This is already rising. Whoa.
Well,
Because this has been, how long has this been rising?
it's been rising about an hour now. It's
An
time
hour.
to punch it down. I did poke my fingers in there when we weren't ready to film, but I'm going to now punch it down. It
Okay.
is time to do that. I'll put a little oil on my hands so it doesn't stick to me, and I'll lift it up. And you can see that it's stretchy,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll just give it a chance to get down in there a little bit more.
So, kind of cover my whole hands in oil.
Yeah, I think you'll want to.
Awesome.
Now, when you do it, get your fingers in this part, but don't do everything here. Because, don't get your whole hands, your
In
dough
it.
all over it.
Yeah, maybe that was my problem.
Yes.
So you just need to hold it by your fingers mostly,
Yes,
or by this part.
right.
Okay.
So that, okay, now don't pull so hard here.
Oh, okay.
Just pinch.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just pinch off a bunch.
That was my problem.
Yeah, now you want to keep that torn cut to the bottom, to the inside, so you don't always have to meet it.
So I'm kind of spreading it out and pulling it around?
Yes.
Is that what I'm doing?
You're taking the outside edge. Now that's enough working because I can see your gluten is tearing. Okay,
So I'm going to
pinch.
pinch off.
Yeah, and get your two fingers together. And then when you,
About like that.
yes, that's good.
Right.
And you want to be sure that you get all those edges together underneath.
Stretching on me.
Okay, now I'm going to pinch little ones, smaller
Okay.
ones.
Should I just do nothing with this?
No, you can pinch a little one.
A little one? Okay. Oh, do I put them just in the middle?
We're going to let them sit a little bit.
Okay. That's too big.
Now the next step is to get a little moisture.
Do I need another one?
Yeah, you need that one. But the next step is that we're going to do a little bit of this. Give it a pat of moisture and
On the bottoms,
on
right?
the bottoms.
Okay, with just a little water. We got a cup of water here.
Yeah. And I just
Just
get
all,
my
kind of
finger.
all over, or just
Not too much. Don't wet your
too much.
hands every time.
okay.
And I give it a little punch and put those on top. Now what I do with these cereal box papers, they're good and strong. They're better than wax paper. And I tell these little things, now you keep on staying straight.
Oh, so that kind of keeps them from falling off.
Yes.
You tell them that each time. You stay on straight. Well, Grandpa, we're waiting on the Zwiebach to finish baking here. How long does it take, Grandma?
About 15 minutes,
15 minutes or so?
15 to 17, depending on how much browning you want.
Yeah.
It's time to get them out.
Our first batch of
And it
Zwiebach.
looks good. One little trick that I do is to rub them with oleo. I have a soft oleo that I use just for that.
Just like more margarine spread or something.
Give them a bath in that.
Right when they come out.
Well, I let them, if they're hot to
Yeah.
handle.
And here's our finished product. Beautiful Zwiebach. Some people like butter or jelly or just plain. So how long do you think it takes to bake them from the start to finish of the whole process?
About 3, you should allow 3.5 hours.
For one batch? Or
For one batch or
one
one
batch.
dough baking. I like to start them early in the morning, and by 10:30 I'm through with everything.